All right, we'll get this party started. Let's see who's coming in. Who's first? We got Adisra. Adisra's here.
Oh wow, just right. Hey,
Hey, good to
happy
see you
Tuesday.
guys. And we do have, I think we have like 30 or 40 that signed up between yesterday and today. So we'll see what happens. See who comes in. That's the whole idea, right? This is the thing. We got Jay Talbot in the house too. That's awesome. All right, we will get cooking. Let me share my screen out, not that one. We'll get the right one up here. And so, for those of us that are new, let's see, is that right? That's wrong. Wrong one. Let's
I
do
like that.
let's do this one instead. It's the first time I ever done this. Never done a webinar before. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody. We got Sally, we got Rafa, we got Richard. He's coming in. Um, we're going to do some introductions. I don't have a slide for you, Richard, yet, but we'll get one for you and
No
Sally
problem.
Wade, of course. And I think Byron Heppel's going to join us too. I hope.
Wonderful.
Let me
It's
make
always
sure.
nice when he makes a cameo.
Let me see if I can get him because I got some. We got some stuff I think is pertinent to him.
So in the meantime, shall we put our information in the chat as far as where
Sure.
we're from? So yeah, put in the chat where you're zooming in from.
Who's zooming
Hello
who?
from Park City,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, let us know where you're from. And we do have
Old Park City.
a question coming up, which is one word of doing business with the federal government. Hold on a second. Gotta get this piece here. Don't pay no attention to that. I'm gonna get this ready. One word for doing business with we'll get started in a minute. Yeah, where are you from? Always love those, right? Let's see. Session docs. Boom. Bam. Got it. I'm gonna take this and copy it down here.
DC, Indianapolis,
Hopefully I'll be
Hollywood,
able.
Florida, Fredericksburg, Grangeville, Idaho. Woo!
Yeah, love
New
it.
Jersey, Gilbert,
And I'm from Woodstock, Merlin.
Leesburg.
That's me. Leesburg, that's not far. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm gonna put in the chat, see if I can paste this whole thing. It's gonna let me. It did.
Yay.
There's the session docs.
Nice.
Hey, there's a Disra. We're gonna get together. You're in Columbia, Maryland. We got to get together, Disra. I know we were talking about it, but we will definitely do
Stacy
it.
Pohl, my friend in Utah.
Hey.
Your friend too,
Yeah,
Dave.
spring is coming after you got dumped on out there.
Yeah,
You
right.
guys, how much snow did you get out there, Sally?
We got, I mean, there's so much snow. I feel like feet and feet and feet. We've been plowing.
Yeah. One of my other clients is out there. Pretty fun.
So 264 inches,
What?
500 inches
Huh?
of snow.
Is that for real?
No, that's the average.
Oh,
Annual.
that's the average. How much snow did you get where you are, Rafael Marrero?
Oh, I'm still freezing. Yeah.
All right.
We turned that into marshmallows. Yeah.
Let's get cooking. The spending fuse is lit. What do we mean by that? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They passed some of it. Some of the budget got
Yep.
passed. Here's who it is: agriculture, rural development, FDA, commerce, justice, science. I'm not exactly sure which science that is. And related agency, energy got theirs. Water development, interior, environment, and related agencies, military construction, not military yet. VA and related agencies, transportation, housing, urban development, and related agencies. So there you go. They couldn't make it easy for us to say these are the agencies that were funded. They said this is the stuff that was funded. Government, gotta love the government. And what is your one word for doing business with the government? And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell the folks that are here the hot seat questions of the day. Where are we in the sales cycle? The federal sales cycle specifically, and why do contractors fail? And how do you show that you belong in this business. And a little bonus there for our sponsor, samradar.com. How does Sam Radar help? We'll give you some doses on that. We love the participation, don't we, Rafa?
Absolutely. We love
We
it.
love it. We love it. We got 43 people so far. So here's where we share links and docs. And then if you have questions, please raise your hand, pop it in the Q&A. We can unmute you and include you in the conversation. We do love that as well. Quick disclaimer for industry, this is not affiliated or endorsed by anybody, agencies, or any otherwise. It's informational purposes only. Does not guarantee an award. You can't believe that. Can you, Sally? Can't believe that it doesn't guarantee an award.
It
just by being
certainly does not. Certainly does not.
We certainly have people that's the direction they want to go, and we want to help them get there for certain. Govies, if you are a government official, let us know. We love it, love it, love it. If you're employed by the government, it's not and you can participate because it's not an endorsement or commitment to purchase from anybody else that's here. We will, I promise, connect you with experts. Hopefully we got another one coming in. Because I got one of the questions I want to ask him from the inside because he used to be a federal contracting officer. But we'll connect you with experts. We'll be discussing what works. We'll highlight sponsors and partners like Sam Radar and the folks that are here like Sally White and Peter Timbus and Rafael Marrero and Richard Zimmerman's here for the first time. Whoa, what are we doing? Hold on. Obviously, Chris does not know that. Rob, tell Chris we're on a briefing. All right. So let's get to know each other. We also love to do the polls. So if we get to know each other, tell us a little bit about you. How long you've been around, what kind of business you're doing in the federal government. And if you ever been to one of these sessions before, because this is actually a subset of GovBrief. We always love to find out who's been here before. And in the handouts are going to be in the chat. I'm popping them in again for anybody that popped in since the last time, which is a few more. We have the spending report, the 2023 spending report. I also popped in the 2024 year-to-date spending report. Got the winnable opportunity matrix, some propaganda from me and from Rafael Marrero and anybody else who wants to plug things in. So what's your one word for doing business with the government? What do we got, Sally? Anybody pop that in there?
We do. I put mine in. Mine is an Icelandic word, and it means crazy.
What's the word?
It's
you
called
gotta write in a foreign language.
Drajalur. Incompetent. That's another word. We have, we have Jake Albus is overwhelming. We have
we got Briggs saying Briggs here.
Yeah. Stacy Polk. Some bureaucratic, interesting, networking, difficult, defense.
Yep.
Yep. Lots of words.
Bureaucratic.
Right.
All true, right? All true. Anybody got any other words? Let's see.
Ooh, love that, Rafa. Love that, Doctor. Multidimensional.
Ooh,
look at me. I got fancy words.
Yeah, that's a big one word.
Hush.
Love
Samuel's
that,
here. Complex. Gail Paul, nitpicking. Love that one.
Yeah.
Patricia's got chaotic. That's a winner too, right? That is a winner. So yes, Steve Kennedy's in the house. Hold on a second.
Steve Kennedy, oh my God, Steve.
I hadn't seen Steve Kennedy. Hold on. Let me see. Where are you, Steve?
Stevie.
Steve Kennedy. I'm promoting you. I'm promoting Steve Kennedy to a panelist. Steve Kennedy, can you pop open? I made you a panelist, but did I make you a panelist? Did it work? There he is.
Yeah, you
I
did.
gotta make you a co-host so you can share your video if you want to. Steve Kennedy is awesome. I hadn't seen where are you here, Steve-O? There he is. How you doing, man? I hadn't seen you in a minute.
It's been crazy.
It's been crazy.
But I like that first slide. You're showing finally who's getting a little crack in the dam for money. That was great.
I was literally looking for a crack in the dam, but none of the things worked for the picture. Yeah. So I used the bomb ball of money.
That works. Yeah.
It does work too. So Glenn Adams says bright. I love it. So that's why we're here. We're here because the federal government is spending money, right, Steve-O?
Amen. Let's go get some.
Let's go get it, baby.
Help them solve their problems.
That's right. I love that. So I'm going to give another, for everybody who has not answered the poll, going to give you another 3, 2, 1. Any last minute wallflowers, last second wallflowers? All right, got one in there. All right, here's what we got, folks. 13% brand spanking new.
Wow.
8% 1 to 2 years. 21% is 3 to 5. 6 to 10 years is 8%, and 11% for 11 to 20, and 39% are over 20 years. Love that. And oh, by the
Thick
way,
animals. Yes.
we got 35% that have direct federal contracts. So if you have federal contracts and you want to pop open, and we got 57% have been here and coming back. Love it. Appreciate you guys. With me today, I have the doctor, the colonel, the one and only Kentucky Fried Cuban. He's here today, and because you're an honorary. It's not honorary. What is it?
I'm a colonel on the governor's staff for the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
For the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
That's right.
Hence, the Kentucky Fried Cuban.
That's right.
That's right. And this guy helps with capability statements. Where we're talking. I got some featured things for you. I want to hear your insight on capability statements and being ready to do business with the government today, because that's what you do. And if your sales or your marketing people look at you to say, what is a capability statement? Chances are you need the doctor, right? Right, doctor?
Absolutely. If you get that look, that deer in the headlights look, when you ask for a CAPE statement, then you're in the wrong place.
That's right, because you're going to need it here. So capability statements, capabilities videos. I love the way you do the business cards, because they're mini capability statement business cards. So we're going to feature Raphael today in a couple of our questions for sure. We also have Sally White. Both of these guys joined me last week on briefing. Sally did LinkedIn, and Rafa did, what did you, small business dynamic search? Is that what it was?
Yeah, we did a DSBS deep dive, which, by the way, was awesome, right? It was engaging and it was fun. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So we also have Sally. Sally's here. She is an Uber connector, do a lot of things on LinkedIn. And maybe we'll even take a look at what happened on LinkedIn with the combination of Sam Radar a little later.
Pretty cool.
So she's awesome. So appreciate you being here. We got Peter Timbus, who I definitely want to lean on you today for using what you do and funding. Funding's important, but you also have what is it that you call that on the front side of a bid that you put out?
Well, when people are bidding on contracts, we can support that effort by giving them financial letters of support.
Yep.
So the agency knows that should they award the contract to you, that our letter will say to the agency, we're there to support you in the performance of that contract from a financial point of view. So we're here today to show everybody the money.
There you go.
We got plenty of it, and we're lending it.
I'm going to lean on you on some of this, because I think there's some things that you can do. You can help them on the front end. So I appreciate you being here. I'm hoping that our good friend Brian Hebel can join us today. He is a former contracting officer, because I'd like to get his insight on this as well, on some of the questions, for the hot seat questions. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. I also created GovBrief, but we provide intel, and we can help you be a subject matter expert in 2024. We are now coming up on Q3 of 2024. Time to get motivated, get out there. So we're also doing things for industry. We got the sam.gov tutorial today. There's a bunch of other stuff. Folks like Rafa and Sally are on there. Got a whole bunch of other people. Jason Moy's coming. We got Shauna Weatherly on Thursday, I believe. And I don't think Sean is here. But I highly encourage you to check her out. She's also a former Govy, so we're up in the game. And if you would like to be an expert or a panelist or anything dealing with expertise and showing Govies why they should be buying from you, we'd love to talk with you about that. You can see our upcoming events. These happen to be from last month, but they were two of the best briefings. One was doing for the deaf community, for diversity, equity, inclusion, and access and customer experience, because deaf folks are kind of in the back seat, and they haven't had an update in their technology since 1975. So that's what we brought out to the forefront, and also did this one with rigging. And both of these folks have follow-up meetings with the program managers, which is exactly why we do it. And then we have experts. We had Joan on last month. We had Rafa and we had Jason Moy. We have a whole bunch of folks. Please, please, please check it out on GovBrief. We will be featuring Sam Radar a little bit today because it is a game changer for you. You can't do this alone. You can't do it without the right tools. And this is a game changer tool. Because why? Because the fuse is lit. And so we're going to get right into it with the hot seat question number 1. Somebody tell me where we are in the federal sales cycle. Who knows? Who knows where we are? I know Steve does, but he disappeared for a minute. Anybody know where we are in the federal sales cycle? Anybody?
End of Q2.
End of Q2. And they just passed the budget. So what does that mean? They get an extension to spend all the money for fiscal year 2024, Rafael Marrero?
Nope, they have to spend it
don't.
by end of September. So the deadline is still the same.
And what does that mean to you, Steve Kennedy? Because Steve Kennedy tell everybody what you do real quick.
We're on GSA schedule, 15 plus years doing off-site fabricated interior construction. So basically we help them build out space muy pronto. And when they take, like last year, they took 10 months to get the budget approved, and then the last minute comes around, they got all their money and they got to move quick. And they need ROM budgets, they need to order, they need to get stuff done. They have to allocate and commit funds or it goes away. So they're in a hurry to do this.
When was the last time you saw them not spend all the money?
It seems like they find a way to make it be spent, because if they don't spend it, someone looks at them funny and says, hey, you really didn't need all that money you asked for last year, and I think we're going to cut your budget a little bit. So they do everything they can to spend every shiny nickel and dime. So
I couldn't agree more. So in the sales cycle, this happens every year, right? So we hit October 1st, and oftentimes we're under a continuing resolution. That means that they just can't spend any more than they did last year. Well, since they spent $1.7 trillion last year, right? They can't surpass that budget. So they have been spending. And the reason why we know this is because we can see it in the dollars that are going out. Now, new contract spending is where they tamp that down until the budget is released, right? So now, does that mean that everybody here can just say, hey, I have a GSA contract, just fill my pockets, right? Right, Steve? That's how it works. You got a GSA contract, just fill your pockets.
Yeah, standing there with a catcher's mitt works every time.
So how does it really work? When you still got to get out there and you got to let folks know what you do, right, Steve?
Yep. And you got to get your information in front of the right people to let them know how you understand what they have, what they're doing, and how you might be able to help them out. And that's it.
That's it. And the status quo right now is the incumbents have it, right?
And they always go back to somebody you know who can get the job done.
That's correct. So if that's right, I'm gonna pose a question for everybody, and you can check this out for yourself. This is what I want you to do, because I know Steve does it, and that's why I popped you up, Steve. I didn't know you were going to be here, but you're on the hot seat as well. So review your email, click to contact the buyer, or ask for a meeting or referral. Can you do that in 2 minutes, Steve?
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a tool that helps you find that person.
That's right. I wonder what the tool is, Steve. I wonder what it is. So Sam,
can you tell us, Dave?
Here's why we have to do it. This is from the 2023 spending report that you have in your handouts. And if you just showed up, I'm going to pop that in the chat for you right now so that you can get that. It is part of the handouts in that top link. So here's what we know. Take a look at the top section, right? Just take a look at this. No competition. We see this happen all the time. 76% of all the contracts have zero competition. the know, like, and trust model that Steve was just talking about. The other part, which winds up being 91% of the dollars, the ducats, are shortlisted between 5 or fewer competitors. And if you take a look at this bottom one, 139,000 contracts, overall opportunities that hit the street. You want to know why we need something like SAM Radar? It is because of this number right here. Is if you're only looking at stuff that hits on sam.gov, oh, by the way, SAM Radar does that too. It'll give you all the opportunities in your space, but it also is going to show you and distill the ones that are most important to you. This is why we point people to SAM Radar, because 98% will not hit sam.gov. It didn't do it that last year. It's not going to do it this year. So that's the first pump. We're going to take a look at that in just a minute. Hot seat question number 2. Now, we're going to spend a little bit more time on this one than we did on the first one, because where we are in the sales cycle is where it is, and you got to be rocking and rolling, right? Hot seat question number 2. Why do contractors fail in the federal space? They are qualified. They may have been around for 20 plus years, like the folks that are here. Why do they fail? Anybody want to take first shot at that one?
Wow, 71 participants. Come on. Jump on in.
Anybody want to? I'm talking to our hot seat people too. So tell me what you think.
Oh.
Sally, why do contractors fail in your mind?
Absolutely. Several reasons. One, we believe that the government or the managers, contract managers, procurement people actually care about everything I do and all the wonderful things I do to provide services. That's number one. They believe that. Number 2, I don't prepare myself with the brand. Like, I don't work with Dr. Raphael to get myself on brand and my website and all the things I do. Number 3, I'm not out there positioning myself. And 4, the biggest one is I don't know who's buying in my particular market. I haven't done my due diligence and my research.
So understanding the market is what I heard, and then being proactive to go out after the market. I heard that from you. Rafa, why do contractors fail that you've seen?
They're not connecting. They're not getting their messaging across. And for starters, people don't know what they don't know when they get into government contracting.
That's
right?
A fact.
And so we come into this great opportunity or great marketplace and think that we can just run with with the preconceived notions that we have from the private sector, right? Or from the nonprofit sector, or because I was a government employee and I knew all the things that there is, I'm going to be a successful GovCon contractor. And let me hit wrong answer, because you're not going to unless you've been involved in the actual procurement stuff, right? So there's a cultural mindset that you need to. There's a switch that you need to hit, and that kind of switching of mentality takes a while, David. There's a ramp up period, but you need to improve your readiness posture to engage, and the way you are perceived by government buyers will vary on the quality of the materials and how good of a job you're doing in positioning yourself. And that's where we help them with procurement readiness and improving their outreach marketing materials, their assets, or artifacts as they're called also. So that's what we do.
Love it. And Jay Talbot says, love Jay, always love Jay. Love me some Jay Talbot. Don't build relationships and don't look like they belong. We're actually going to talk about that second one in just a minute. Hot seat question number 3, which both of these dovetail, right, Rafa?
Absolutely.
And that's why we kind of pulled them together for today. So Peter Timbus, the Cecilia James actually called one out, which is lack of funding, right? So that could be both sides. It could be lack of funding for what's happening in the federal government. We've seen that happen, right, Steve? We've seen them pull funding and put it to the Ukraine, and we've seen them do some shell games with the money, right?
That's, once they get it in their pocket, they can put it where they need to. They might say we're going to do this, but we need it over here instead of where it was earmarked to go. So,
but the other side of that is lack of funding to be able to support the contracts, or lack of funding to be able to say that you really belong. And you've got to have some staying power. Peter Timbus, tell us about how you help folks and what folks need for staying power.
Well, I wanted to go back. Once they do, Rafa talked about getting ready and get ready to hit the switch. Once they get ready to hit the switch, you go back to the poll or the numbers you just put up, that 76% have no competition, 91% are shortlisted that have 5 or less. Why is that? A lot of times because people will look at opportunities and say, I qualify business wise, but I don't have the access to capital to go out and bid on those contracts. Well, we lend to the opportunity. We do not lend to your financial statements. We will look at your financial statements to get a snapshot of the company. But if you see opportunities out there on SAM radar and you say to yourself, I can do that, but boy, I'm going to need $1 million line of credit, or I'm going to need a $2 million line of credit, or I'm going to need a $5 million line of credit, but I've only got $300,000 line of credit, immaterial to us, because we are going to lend to that opportunity. So our customers have unlimited access to capital. So if they were customers of ours, they can go after the 76% and this 91% because we're going to give them that access to capital. And if they win it, we're going to be there to support it. And one of the biggest things that we'll do is we'll support their payroll even before they've invoiced their customer.
And this
So
this
we
is important.
fund
So
work
part
that
of
has
it,
been completed but not financed.
right? So, and I love that. So this is important because on the front end, we're going to talk about looking like you belong and things like that. But one of the reasons why federal contractors fail is after they win it, they've already won it, they've gotten it, and then they don't have the wherewithal to be able to stay. We got the Brian Hebel man is in the house.
Woohoo!
Hey, hey, Dave, you got me on my video. It's not
I
working.
know
for
I
some
had you
reason.
restricted because we really didn't want to see you, but now I got you on
I
there.
don't play-
You can
I
start
don't
your
play
video
yet.
now.
Hmm.
So,
David,
yes, sir.
yeah, not only do they have to be prepared from financing point of view, but when they are bidding on a contract, they have to know what their cost structure is for financing, because that is very, very important. Put in their proposal.
I
So
couldn't agree more.
cost as well as the availability.
Love it.
Hey,
Hey,
Dave, can I
Brian.
insert something, Dave, real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, I'll add to the list of reasons why contractors can fail. But one that I see, because I'm on the bonded side and I see claims that come through, deal with claims ongoingly with, that I'm seeing as well as I'm participating in. I'm seeing that the growth of a company, accelerated growth, has been more recently a bigger reason for failure. Trying to grow too fast, or not staying in your lane, switching your scope, and trying to do be a jack of all trades and not a master of one. So
That's a winner.
yeah, that's been what I've seen in the more recent claims, and some big ones, growing too fast.
That is a winner. So I'm gonna, Brian, I want to get your insight on this question. Why do contractors fail? Let me just paint the picture for the stakeholders and who Brian was in the grand scheme of things. So you have contracting officers, specialists. That's Brian. He used to be a contracting officer for CMS. Where were you before CMS? You were there for like forever.
DOD for 6 years before that.
All right, DOD for 6 years and then CMS. So that's his role. So then you have program managers and project managers, contracting officer representatives, or core or senior management. So real quick, for folks that are new, for folks that are brand spanking new to this space, never done anything in the federal space, this is how things work. You have your political appointees, senior SESs, senior executives. Right under there are folks like Brian, who are the top level of program management or procurement. That's where Brian was. And two different decision trees, specific decision trees. One side cares about getting the job done. They're responsible for getting the work done. They are the workers, the oversight, the managers of getting the work done. On the other side of the house, they care about getting the contract done and getting you paid. So this is where Brian lived, was getting the contract done. That doesn't mean he doesn't care about getting the job done right, because he does, but he doesn't have any control over what the need is. The need comes from the program side, gets thrown over the fence to the contracting side. Another view of this is in the winnable opportunity matrix. You have the program manager says, I got something that I need. I got to get this done, and I have to have this particular service or product. They throws it over the fence to contracting officers like Brian Hebel, and that is what creates an opportunity. Now, this winnable opportunity matrix is to help you understand where you are in the sales process, the federal sales process. It doesn't operate completely different than commercial, but the timelines are way, way, way different than commercial. We still need to build relationships. This is a complex sale. From the get, it is a complex sale. And that's why I pulled some of this information from Miller Hyman's Strategic Selling. If you haven't read that book, great book to read. I read it in the late 90s, just dating me a little bit. The thing about this is to drive you into the green. That's where we want to be, in the green. So if we want to take a look at how, so Brian, from your perspective, somebody comes to you and say, hey, Brian, I want to do business with you at CMS. And you would take meetings with vendors on a regular basis. A lot of contracting officers don't, by the way, but you made it a point to meet with vendors, right?
Yeah, twice a week.
Twice a week. So think about that. Twice a week, you have direct access to a federal contracting officer, and they would come in. What were some of the things? Why would they fail in your eyes?
Well, I like the thing that Richard said. I think maybe trying to take on too much too fast. I see. And of course, if you take on too much too fast, you get one bad core or program manager on the government side, right? It could certainly ruin your reputation that way. I think that, or pricing your initial proposal too low to get in, and then you can't deliver, or not having the staff lined up when you start, transitions a big thing that can go sour. So there's a lot of things that could go sour. From the contracting officer side, though, our goal is to see companies make money, just not too much of it, right? And we want them to be successful. But you're right, Dave. At any agency, if you look, for every one contract a contracting officer is awarding, and let's just say they're awarding 5 contracts in a year, they got 60 modifications they're making to other contracts. So their prime goal is to award contracts in an efficient and effective manner. So if you can help us figure out how to get to you quickly, right, then you're going to have a better chance of getting a contract.
So let's build out that just a minute. What do you mean by get to them quickly? Because that's going to be one of your first questions. If you like who they are, you're going to say, how do I get to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a 2.5-year-old to decide I'm watching until about 1 o'clock today. So
that's all right, man. That's real life right there.
But if you come to me and you say, we want to buy from you, and I'm not familiar with the contracting vehicle you're on, or you don't have an easy way for me to get to you, well then, I probably might look elsewhere, from that standpoint. You need to see how the contracting officer buys, understand how they buy, and you need to make sure that there's a way for that agency to get to you based on your business structure in terms of what contracting vehicles you have. So, and if I ever used it, if I never bought off, I'm just going to say, when everybody knows, if I never bought off GSA before, that would be pretty unusual. I might not know how to do it. You would have to come in and explain to me how GSA vehicle works and why it's an efficient and effective way for me to get to you.
And did everybody hear that we can actually help contracting officers understand the procurement vehicle that we have and why it would be beneficial to them? Because if you heard his buying motives, hey, I want to get this thing done. I want to make it, I want to do it the easiest path of least resistance, is what you said, right, Brian?
Yeah, Dave, and what we always say, right? Contracting officers, their goal is to get increased competition, but just not increase it too much. We don't want too much. I don't want to get 100 proposals. Give me three or four, right? And I think, Dave, you show that data all the time that most of the work out there is, the government only gets, one proposal or two proposals. But in most cases, not a lot of proposals come in.
You
And we
mean
don't-
this document right
Yeah,
here?
that document. Yeah, we don't want too much competition. The goal is, although our goal is an increased competition, really the goal is, more importantly, is the mission, right? And how do you
And
get
the mission is
done
what?
buying things as quick as you can.
Buy them but quick as you can and fulfilling the need with qualified contractors, right?
Right.
That's what you got to
Spending
do.
all the money.
Exactly. They need to
Spending all the
spend the
money
money.
by
Spending all the
September.
money. Yeah, for
By
sure.
September.
So real quick, so if a contractor comes in, how long does it take you to be able to determine whether or not you even should talk with them based on the materials that they're showing you?
Well, you have to understand the agency mission, right? If you meet with a program manager, they're not really interested in your capabilities. They're more interested in how you can help them solve a problem. So you have to understand the agency mission to help them solve a problem, save money, or you can teach them about new industry trends or new technology. They'll want to talk to you. But if you're just going to go in and try to show them your capabilities, I mean, it might work sometimes, but most of the time, if you can help them solve a problem, then they're going to be interested in you because you can help them solve a problem.
That's from the program side. So from your perspective, if somebody comes in with a lousy capability statement and it doesn't look like they have any understanding about your agency or your purchasing process, how long do they last?
I'll forget about them as soon as they walk out the door. Right.
So this is a setup.
I wouldn't
Ready,
say
Rafa? This is your
Yeah.
softball right here, baby.
Yeah, I
So-
wouldn't say I wasted my time. If I met with 2 contractors a week, that I just considered that part of the job. So it wasn't a waste of my time, but it was probably more of a waste of their time.
It's a waste of their time. It's a
Yeah.
waste, and you're not going to consider them at all. So getting people prepared to do business with the government is what Rafael Marrero does. That's what you do. That's your core, right, Rafa?
Absolutely. And to Brian's point, there are different types of capability statements, right? So if you go in with the generic copy and paste capability statement, especially the ones that Apex wants you to design, which look horrible, you're not going to get your point across. And then the other thing is, you really need to have a capabilities briefing, a capabilities pitch deck that speaks to Brian's points when you go meet with Brian. Otherwise, you're wasting his time, right? You need to do your homework. You need to understand what the procurement objectives are for that quarter, that fiscal year. You need to do a deep dive into the agency or department's strategic plan and to see how that is flowing down to Brian from the agency directors, right? These are the mission objectives. These are the overall goals and objectives. And these are some of the programs that we have. Well, if you have your head around that, Dave, then chances are you're going to be able to engage Brian and Brian types, right? The contracting officers. But if you go in there just talking about feeds and speeds, you're going to lose them, right? You're going to lose them because you haven't done your job. I used to do that. People came in and they started like bombarding me. And worst thing you can do is start by lead off by saying, I'm a minority, sir. I'm like, stop. Let's talk about what you do first, right? What pain point you can solve for me. And if like past the first 5 minutes, Dave, if I saw that it wasn't going anywhere, I would get up and go get coffee, right? And my staff would remain. They knew what that meant. That meant just, keep going with this guy. I'm out, right?
I heard that. It's funny you
Yeah.
say that, Raphael. I heard that from 2 executives at my agency.
Yeah.
And like they would have to schedule their bathroom breaks, right? That's how busy they were. But
Yeah.
if somebody came in, and this is IT people, if somebody
Mhm.
came in and they weren't really helping them solve a problem, they would tell they would, I don't know if they would text their assistant or whatever, but say, I got hey, come in and get them out of here. Tell them I got another meeting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
2 executives say that's what
Yeah,
they would do.
yeah.
Rest guesses. Yeah.
No lie. I mean, I would get up and say, I'll be right back. I'm going to get my coffee. And my staff knew exactly what that meant, right? Now, if the person was engaged and I was writing stuff up on the whiteboard and I was asking questions and it got past that first 10 minutes, then we had something to work with, right? But most people, when they walk in, they have that whole deer in the headlights look. They don't understand what my pain points are as a buyer, right? And they don't understand that, hey, my job is to just execute contracts and to buy stuff. I'm not the program manager. I'm not the one out there in operations breaking my neck trying to get this implemented, right? Because it came down from above or because it's something that we need, right? That we ask for funding. So do your homework, right? All content is local. It has to be relevant to your audience.
Hey, Raphael, you know how much interested I am in the program? I've never read a contractor's proposal in 32 years as a contracting officer, right?
You
know.
did what?
He
Wait,
doesn't do
Yeah, I've never-
NACECOs, he doesn't do NACECOs, he doesn't do
we don't read-
proposals,
we
and then
don't-
the guy's like,
Yeah, contracting officers don't read proposals, right? They
He
just
was
rely on-
playing hangman. He was playing hangman on his newspaper. But he did.
But everybody I know contracting officers, and there's
Yeah.
some exceptions. We got too many other things. We just rely on the technical evaluation panel's review of the
Right.
proposal. How many strengths did you have? You know, if this one had 12 and this one had 2, you know, more than likely we're going to pick the one with 12, right? So
Hey, Aisha has a great question, Dave. How do you
All right.
find out their pain points? Do you just ask? That's a great point, right? So most of the time, right, Brian, we don't know what we don't know, right? So when people come in, they're talking to you, they need to do their homework, and you can tell who's done their homework, right? So one of the things I like to do is I like to, you know, look them up online, do research, get the strategic plan. And again, I read forecasting, but only to understand, like to have an idea of what where their head is, right? That doesn't mean that that's what they're going to buy or when they're going to buy it, which is why you need Sam Radar, right? But you need to have an understanding of what the strategic plan is. Also, look at the incumbents. I like to look at the incumbents. I like to see, you know, what their CPARs reports are. What kind of reputation do they have? You need to walk in there with situational awareness, right? If you haven't done your homework and you don't understand who's important to Brian as a vendor, right? Or the Brians of the world, right? Then and you don't understand their constraints, you know, that they're operating under a crunch or they don't have enough funding for this. You know, has the government defined its acquisition strategy? Have they? You know, do they have do they have any preference to go
and they
small?
always have preference,
Of
right?
course, but but this is your stuff that you need to figure out, and this is the stuff that they don't tell you at these SBA type events, right? It's all sunshine, right? It's like you get certified and it's going to start raining. No, it's not, right? You need to do your homework and you need to go out there and good old fashioned elbow grease and start knocking on doors, right? Because having a socioeconomic certification does not guarantee anything. It can position
I will
you.
say subcontracting and also Raphael, subcontracting and going to industry events at the agency.
Yep.
Or, you know, or
That's a good
really
idea.
just the people like just let's talk about IT, the CIO or the CIOs in any agency. They're so busy, they don't know what industry trends are going on. I think
Mhm.
a way is talk to them about industry trends or new technology that's coming out if you're in the IT world, or if you're in
Mhm.
another area. They can't keep up with that stuff, but you know,
Nope.
on the industry side, you can. Yeah.
Right.
So
But go to the industry days, right? And chances are you're going to need to be a subcontractor first to earn your keep and earn your stripes and your to get some credibility out there, right? You just can't start out as a prime. Just doesn't happen that way, right? You came to me
much
and
more
said,
difficult.
"Yeah, I've got 5 people on my team, but I have a world-class organ." No, you don't. You've got 5 people on your team, right? And you're limited to this geography, and you have MOB and DMOB if you're in construction. You can't take this on. So next, you can probably do a scope of the work for a general contractor if you're that good, right? And then they'll hire some of that scope of work out. But don't come in over promising and overselling, and really stick to your core capabilities.
So I'm going to read a couple things here from folks of how they fail.
Mhm.
Don't find our RFQs. If you can't find the business, right, Rita, you can't find it. They don't prepare and they fear, from Stacy Robinson. I love that one. They don't know how to work the system, from Jason Moore. Could not agree more with that. And Cecilia saying difficulty obtaining higher discounts on products. So you could have a problem because an incumbent has the ability to be able to get those discounts and you don't. Great insight on that. And so Gene is asking a question: what assets beside capability statement can help my business stand out to government buyers? Is there Is there a contract winning combination of materials to send and how to stand out? Gene, I'm going to go there in just a second, but I will let anybody else want to throw in on that. Is there a contract winning combination of materials to send? That's a great question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I love that. And I'll tell you what we do. And I'm going to show you one that we did just the other day, right, Sally? We could talk about that.
That's important. You did it
and-
live and you made it happen. That's an
And
example.
Cecilia's got one for can you assist in PO funding? And that goes to you, Peter Timbus. Can you assist in PO funding?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
We have outlets for everything.
David Cancillo says relationships are key. Could not agree more, David. Could not agree more. Love this guy, David. Gail had to leave. The recording will be sent out. Yes. And so how do you find the pain points you just asked? I'm going to show you what we did. Is this a good time for us to show what we did on Thursday, Sally?
I really
Do
think it
it.
is.
Do
think
it.
Do it, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
make it happen.
So to set it up, we were talking about doing LinkedIn, right?
Correct.
Sally's an expert in LinkedIn. We did a session of finding federal stakeholders on LinkedIn. Excellent session, by the way. It is now available on GovBrief on demand. If you would like to purchase that, I'm certain that would be great. What we did though, is we were looking at Sam Radar real quick. Sam Radar, what it does is it says, hey, here's what matters to you today. I want you to take 2 minutes today. We're talking about Steve earlier. 2 minutes today. I want you to reach out to the contracting officer. So who's the contracting officer? The contracting officer is Anthony Janeo.
Yep.
He bought from Beacon Group. So the question about, is there a secret to getting there? Here's the secret. You click this button. I clicked this button. I sent an email. God bless me. I can't stand Outlook. It resets that sometimes. But what I did, it worked on Thursday. And I sent an email to him. So you're like, okay, what did you send? Well, I'm going to tell you what I sent. I sent this message to Anthony. Let me zoom in so you can see it. Good afternoon, Anthony. I'm working on a similar project to the one you awarded to Beacon. Who's Beacon? Beacon's the prime on that. And I could use a little help. Any chance we could chat tomorrow or next week? Now, I broke this out in the Monday roundtables. For those of you who aren't there, there's a method to this madness and looking forward to it. All about short, to the point. What do I want? I want dialogue. I'm not closing a contract here, right, Rafa? I'm not trying to say, hey, I got this. Let's sign on the dotted line. Everybody wants that. Today, though, we're talking about dialogue. So then what is so this is while we're in the session, right? Right, Sally?
Real time.
Real time. And then he says, hi, David, I'm available Tuesday in the morning if you'd like to set something up. That being said, I've not awarded anything to Beacon Group this year. What are the services for? So I respond and I said, I think it was just a mod for expert legal services. It was back in 2022. What it was a closeout contract. But he's swimming in my pool, right? He's swimming in my pool. And I thought it was just the other day. Sorry about that. And he says, okay, no worries. I figured it was. But if you need assistance, let's set something up. What else do you want? That's what we want. That's where we want to go.
Beautiful.
So in this instance, all we did was the information, and we can ask questions of him like, what's your preferred mechanism for procuring what I sell? Right? That's the next thing. Once you have the dialogue, I have the door wide open to walk through. I was only using this as a sample of what can be done.
And the other thing Dave did is Dave happens to know that Semper Fi is a motto in the Marine Corps. So
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, thank you.
Semper Fi, yeah.
Thank you. And so Dave would say thank you for your service or whatever he would say. So brilliant. A lot to unpack there. It's beautiful.
And then we did weave that back into what can be done on LinkedIn as well. But this is just a very simple crack the door open so that you can walk through and get the dialogue. This is the secret. It's a 2-minute drill secret. All you got to do is every time you see your Sam Radar awards. Oh, by the way, just to call this out just a little bit, this is $750,000, $250,000 just the other day. Number of offers received, 1. Everybody see that?
Yep.
And we see this all the time. Let's see what happened today. Oh, 280,000 just awarded the other day. Number of offers received not reported means 1. Here's 3.6 million and change just the other day. Number of offers received. Remember, we talked. Brian called up and said, "You know that's what you always see." Well, that is what we're talking about here. I'm going to show it to you one more time. I'm going to go back and say, this is why we do it. This is why it's so necessary to have your entry point. And once you have that entry point, now you can get in. And that's one of the ways we show how we belong, right, Rafa? Right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things that you do is you help people show like they belong. And guess what? If you don't know what it looks like to belong, they know you don't belong.
That's right.
So you create capability statements, and you're right. You want to have you want that to be a living, breathing document. You have your one pager that you can hand out like candy, make them look like that. That automatically shows that you belong, but you don't have the specifics yet. You're at an industry day. You don't know what they want yet, but you got to look professional, right?
Absolutely.
How do you do it? What are your, you have a 6 C's that you put out on capability statements, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
well, we help them capture the 6 C's, which are the essential elements of information in this communication. You've got to have your contact information. They need to be able to reach you in case they have questions. You'd be surprised at how many capability statements, and I've reviewed thousands of them, don't have the necessary contact information, or they have the wrong contact information for the wrong person. So that's a big problem. The other thing is a strong capabilities narrative, a very powerful one, Dave, should be no more than 125 words. Before, it was limited to the size of the database and DSBS, which was 255 characters, including punctuation. And now you need to really pack a strong punch in that short little paragraph. And that information needs to track to the information on your collateral or your artifacts, your marketing assets. It also has to be consistent. So you can't say one thing over here, one thing over there. Your story has to be very well put together, and the narrative has to be consistent. So you have your contact information, your capabilities, narrative. Another very important code, no matter what Brian Hebel says, are your NAICS codes and your PSC codes. If they weren't that important, they wouldn't be used on our tax returns. Let's put it that way. So NAICS codes are very important because they classify your economic activity, and that's how in theory, how a contracting officer should be able to drill down and look at providers in that specific, for example, 541611, right? Professional services, management, consulting services, et cetera. 237130, heavy construction, right? Heavy civil construction. If you're a translation firm and you have 237130, guess what? When they look you up, you're going to show up in the wrong pile. That's why it's important to have the right codes, whether they're NAICS codes or product supply codes, right? And along with your CAGE code, which is issued by DLA, your commercial and government entity code, your unique entity identifier, your UEI, which was before we referenced DUNS. So the codes are very important. Also, which contracts do you have? Contracting vehicles, Dave. How can we write this up? If I decide to hire you as a contractor and it's a long-term engagement and my agency uses a GSA schedule, or we use an indefinite delivery ID, IDIQ, an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, or a blanket purchase agreement. How do we write this up, right? Well, you need to have the right contracting, you need to have the right mechanism to fulfill that need. So your contracts are very important. And then what are your core competencies, right? Bulletized format and very powerful, mapped to the keyword searches on your profile and to the literature that you see on that. You need to have your core competencies. Something that I like to do is past performance, Dave. I like to have a nice meatball chart, just like in proposals, where you have an XY matrix and you have the government entity, and then you have across the Y, you have the the different offerings. And you have like the little check marks to illustrate, and the government can see, this is where his fortes are, or little stars to highlight that information, right?
I
So he's
love that.
he's delivered, he's done technical writing, and he's done translations, and he's done this. This guy would be great for our training program. That's how they can see the skill sets, right? Visually. So I like to put together infographics that illustrate that. So you have your core competencies. Then some of your agency clients, there are ways there, and also your certifications, your socioeconomic certifications, and your technical professional certs. If you are PMP certified, right? If you're an IT shop, there are all these different. There's IDLE, there's ISO certs for quality management. There's all these different engineering certifications. I know people that have 150 certifications that are IT guys, like GS15s. That's all they do. So they have a resume the length of my arm, right? With technical certs. That's all they do. But they need to call these out when they're meeting with government buyers or evaluators, technical evaluators, depending on which one you're meeting with, to say, hey, I've got the goods. I can deliver on this. I know what I'm talking about, right? Just to pass that initial first, get that first sniff test, right? And you need to really have that information on there. So think of this as a corporate resume. There's a one-page version that I like to develop for emailing, and then there's another one for meetings that has the past performance and what I call the success sheet on the back, right? It shouldn't be more than 2 pages for that type of capability statement. There's other forms, but we do those like during sources sought, et cetera.
Yeah, love that. And you're going to be talking about sources sought in just a couple weeks. So
that's right.
Nice little segue into your Gov Brief session coming up. And I do want to say one more thing, Peter. This is where you can also differentiate yourself and show you belong, because you have the financial fortitude. Let's say you're only $1 million company and you're bidding on a $10 million project. Banks will lose their mind with that. Their heads explode.
Yep.
But in your instance, you know how the government works, and that's why you push that out to them with a, what is it, letter of financial support? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Letter of financial support that we will provide you when you're bidding on that contract. Prior to that, we do get some information from the company. We want to understand management. You have the capability to perform on this. As long as you have the performance, the management, and we feel it's a go, we'll give you that letter of financial support that you can put in your bid package, so the agency knows that should they award the business to you, you've got the access to capital to perform. Very, very important.
I love it.
Hey, so, Dave, one of the things we used to do is run a Dun & Bradstreet report on prospective clients, right? To see their financial stress index, to see how spread, if they were spread too thin, I could see trends, like see if they were asking for money repeatedly, like over a period of time, which points to them having being strapped for cash. That's why working with a guy like Peter is so important, because from where I'm sitting, I'm evaluating to see how well you're put together and you're structured, right? But if I spot something in your background check as a contractor, right, which means financial stress, you're overcommitted, you're spread too thin, you're growing too fast, like Zimmerman was saying before, and then you have all this need for capital. These are things that we look for, right? On the contracting officer, procurement officer side. It's always important. I can't stress this enough. That's why I always send people to Peter to have letters of financial support, because when you win the contract and you meet with your business opportunity specialist at the SBA, one of the things that they do is send out an agency letter from the SBA to the agency that you're courting to get their contract, to say, hey, we're going to back this client up. We're going to back them up. And please consider giving them a sole source. They're in this 8A business development program, or they're a hub zone or veteran owned or women owned, et cetera. And having that financial support letter from Peter at that point in time makes all the difference in the world, because it signals to the other party that you're serious about doing business with the government.
Yep, I love it.
Yep.
And Richard, you can throw in here real quick, in that if you're in construction, your bonding shows that you belong and that you have a good history, right?
Correct. And to speak of Peter, the access to capital is one of the C's. So there's 3 C's in bonding. So I'm not going to have 6 C's like Raphael, but I'll have 3 C's.
You only get 3.
And,
You only got 3.
and capital is one of those 3. And so having access to capital, it makes a determination of your working capital, which is complete part of the computation for bonding capacity.
I love
Now,
it.
there is some play in it for the size of contracts and your history of contract size. You being able to demonstrate that just because you have money doesn't mean that you can demonstrate that you can do a much larger project. So, it's essential for Peter to be a part of the equation, but you got to make sure that your part of the equation is met, which is what Raphael would do, which makes sure that you appear properly and your picture's as pretty as possible. So bonding is, and then the Dun & Bradstreet is part of a character part of bonding as well. So they'll pull the Dun & Bradstreet report, and if you look back at the history of the company, and they've got some dings and some personal stuff, and a lot of the sureties will do what's called a Westlaw poll, which they'll be able to see your character from way back when, and that plays a huge role in whether or not you can get bonded. So you can have all the money you want, but if you can't get bonded to the capacity you want, you won't be able to get those contracts.
So capital, character, and credit, right? Those were the 3 C's that you were mentioning.
So it's character, capacity,
Capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
So capacity is, again, back to the demonstrating whether or not you can do a project this size.
Love it.
Very important.
So it ties back to your capabilities, right? Capacity is very important. Growth capacity and matching that with demand is very important, Dave. That's fundamental. Can I just give you one final example? I'm sorry, I know that I've taken up a lot of your time.
All right, go ahead.
But speaking to Richard's point, we had an 8A firm, Dave, that was our client that we got certified, rebranded, and I was their executive officer for government relations, right? They had been in business for 27 years, Dave, right? And when I met them, and then the problem that they have, going back to Richard's point, was their bonding capacity was far too constraining for their growth, right? They wanted to grow, but here's the problem. They have $1.5 million per project, and they have $5 million total aggregate, right? So what happens is, if you're bidding on a project and I'm evaluating your financial capability and your capacity to execute on this, I'm going to say, but wait a minute, you've got 2 projects out there and you're like $2+ million, 3 million plus from that $5 million bucket. You don't have enough bonding to cover you on this $5 million deal that you want to win with us, right? So that was the biggest deterrent that my client had. So we got him into the bond guarantee program. Richard knows a ton about that. And by the way, we got that client's bonding capacity increased to 25 million. And after that, Dave, their first big contract was for $9 million.
Nice.
Okay, this is real. This is documented. I have the backup for this. And this is with one of our 8A clients. Okay.
I love it. So that's how that works. And Antoine just said that's why working capital and capital ratios are important. You couldn't be more right, Antoine. All right, we're going to get you guys out of here. We ran over a little bit, shocking as that would be. I love the dialogue. I want to drive everybody to 2-minute challenges. Review your email, click the contact the buyer, ask for a meeting or referral. Why? Because you want access to the 80%, 87% of the contracts and the 91% of the dollars. And when you sign up for Sam Radar, you have continual support. It isn't just kicking you out and saying, oh, go have fun with all this stuff. No. Monday roundtables, more fun than federal contracts should be. Networking, we had just a couple weeks ago, we had a $27 million teaming that happened because of the roundtables. We'll talk about federal fundamentals, a lot more than this. We get down into some details, advanced tactics so that you can engage buyers and program managers. And if you do it, you lock in the savings. Got to do it soon because those prices are going to go up. I promise you they will. And just make sure that you have 2 minutes. That's all I want. 2 minutes a day to be able to do that. We have got to get out there. There's 202 days left. If you want to get in the 98% that never hit sam.gov, I'm going to pop open this real quick so that you guys can answer this poll. Do you want a piece of the 98%? Do you want a piece? Of course you want a piece. And we're going to be and you can help just that alone Just that alone will help them get you in the door, just like I did. Just like I did on Thursday. I got in the door. I now have access to be able to communicate with the buyers. Time is ticking. You got to get moving. And what I mean by that is 202 days in this fiscal year. Good thing is they're going to have another fiscal year next year, right, Rafa? It doesn't stop, does it?
Nope.
But wait. What if a Republican gets in, or what if they may stop spending? They're going to stop. They're not going to stop.
The
No.
gift that keeps on giving.
The red, blue, left, right, DR don't matter.
It
There's
just
one
shifts.
color. There's
Just
one
shifts
color.
from
It's
one place to
green.
another.
That just shifts from one place to another.
It's green, baby. It's not red or blue. It's green.
It's green, baby.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out to Rafa, it's in the handouts. You can reach out to Rafa if you see this with your marketing people. You know you need Rafa. That's all I got to say.
You're in the wrong
Capability
place.
statements, videos, business
Yep.
cards. Here's Sally White's information. I highly encourage you to reach out to Sally. We didn't feature Sally too much today, but because we were actually featuring Peter Timbus a lot, and I'll get you his information in a minute. But reach out to Sally. Great in strategy and making sure that you can connect on LinkedIn. Peter Timbus is here. Make sure you reach out to Peter. A lot of questions about that Peter. If you need, we're going to give you a poll in just a minute where you can fill that out as well. Brian Hebel, you can buy his book. He's got another book coming out. I think Brian had to leave us. He's chasing a 2.5-year-old, and at his age, that is a problem. And you can join me today at the sam.gov tutorial. You going to join me today, Ralph? You going to be able to pop on for a minute?
You bet. You know I'm down with that. Yeah.
That's
what I
didn't
live
want to
for.
rope you in unless you wanted to.
No, you know that I love these things. Come on.
Check out GovBrief if you want to be a subject matter expert. We are calling experts. We have folks, if you want to reach industry, we'll help you reach industry. And you can be one of the insiders. You could be one of the folks that have history with doing work with the federal government. I'm going to end this poll, and I got one more poll for you to get you guys out of here. For those of you who decided to stick around to the very end, do you need professional help? Not the kind of professional help from listening to this crew for an hour. We're talking about the professional help that you need to get into the government. Because guess what? The incumbents have the advantage. Am I right? Anybody want to argue with me? So why should they let you in? That's what we're going to be talking about. Continue to talk about with the tools and the folks that are here. I've got to jump to prepare for this next briefing that I have at 1 o'clock. And I think we could probably have 20, 25, well, more than that now, folks. So we'll see if you want to join me. Find that on govbrief.us. The rest of these things, we'll fill that out. Peter, great job. Always love you having you on here. And Richard, make sure you share your information in there for bonding, not for everybody, but for construction. No way you can do federal business without bonding, right, Richard?
That's right.
That's right. And they also do insurance, Dave. So small businesses need insurance. I can't stress this enough.
Love that. And information is in there. Who can I speak with with more on transportation contracts specifically? Joe, you and I can talk. You definitely want to sign up for Sam Radar. If you sign up for Sam Radar, you're under the tent, and we'll make sure you get what you need. That's the best place to start, first of all. And Samuel, you're welcome. Always love having you. Marilyn, no idea what the heck that is, but that do you know what that is? That symbol?
What is? Oh,
Marilyn had
yeah, that's a Spanish. It's yeah.
Oh, it's a Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I can't even speak English right, and I am only the token gringo to the Spanish community.
Where's your hat? Where's your hat? Come on. Where's the hat?
I got my hat.
He's gonna wear this. He's gonna wear this in Little Havana in Miami. There we go.
Is that Spanish symbol for sign up for Sam Radar today? Is that what that means?
No, it's not. No.
We need a
well, you know, when
symbol.
you see the word Curazao, right? That's the symbol that you use with that sounds like the lift, right? Curazao. That's what that symbol means. Yeah.
Got it.
Whatever you say, man, I believe it.
We
That's
believe
it.
it.
Yep.
I believe
Wonderful.
it. All right, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
We're going to end this poll. Thank you very much, Sally. Always great. Appreciate you all. You are the best. Thanks for joining us, and we will
Thanks for having me on.
get that done. You're welcome, man.
You.
Get you guys out of here. Thanks, Peter. See you guys.